The bravery of now naming yourself the motswako originator.
How I identified with motswako was, I'm Khulani, that's Zulu.
Yeah, that was fire too.
Right?
In a statement, what is the story of Maftown Heights?
One thing I can proudly say is there isn't a person we haven't touched in one shape or form or in any way through that platform. This started the thought process for Cotton first. And says so in his own words. Again, don't listen to me, watch it. We're in the movie business, as Khuli says.
Yes,
right?
sir.
But for real.
Okay, never mind. It's crazy that the answers nobody had I found when searching for myself. Let's toast to victory. Pick up your glass, show me love for once. Let's toast to victory.
Welcome to Choppin It with Bhuda T. I am definitely today and on this day the Lord of the entire, the Lord of the every, the Lord of the jig, the Lord of the fit. Shout out, Big Dog. The Lord of the babies, the Lord of the light-skinned baby daddies. The Lord of the entire, Himity the boy, of course. Shade Game is a verdict. Big Dog doing big dog business. And to prove it today, I never thought this one was going to come, actually. I didn't think it was going to happen. We have the GOAT.
Yes, sir.
And I'm looking at everybody in the eye to make sure that we all know it's the GOAT, right? The GOAT, Khuli, Chana, of course, with Big Dog, Refiloe Ramogase. For the chat with Bhuda T!
How'd you pull this one off, bro?
And I'm going to tell you why I didn't think this was going to happen, right? So I just started the chop. I'm on fire. I'm viral on the net. I'm like, oh, the nation is mine right now. I called Khuli on the 14th of February last year.
Valentine. But I'm married. The 14th of Feb is a big calendar event.
I'm like, Big Dog, I'm super excited. I'm like, Big Dog, gotta come see me, Big Dog. And this is... Because last year Feb was like, I think I had just done the KO. And so I'm early. I'm feeling like I'm trying to get all the big guns out the way. It's like, yeah, Big Dog, let me hit you back. And I'm like, Big Dog, it's Valentine's. I get it. I know how you move. Get me right when you're ready.
I never hit you back since. My bad, dog.
Like, to this day! But look at me, I made it. Which you said when you sat down, you're like,
yeah.
Is this your first?
Yeah, this is the first. And, the timing is impeccable, Z.
It makes sense.
It's Maftown Heights. It's aligned.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, both of you, for coming out. We're happy to have you guys here. Maftown Heights is what brings you here.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
I've been meaning to come. But this is the right time.
But interviews also are not your thing, no?
Nah,
I don't see you talk much on the net.
Morning live, morning live is like 10 minutes in, out,
That's easier.
Anything over 30 minutes, you're going to start talking smack.
You don't want to say anything wrong.
I'm a peaceful brother. I protect, Yeah. And, I've always felt like podcasts are synonymous to drama. I'm out here and
thanks to Meg G. Meg G, look at what you did to us.
Meg G hit me up. He's like, I promise you.
No, but
we're going to talk about...
dramas, it's definitely
I owe Meg G a visit. I'll come soon, Papa. Yeah.
Meg G.
Maftown Heights 2029.
Owes me a thank you, because I'm the one convincing you to go out there.
Yeah, I'm going to see him. That's my dude.
That's How have you managed that, actually, the peaceful nigga over the years?
Hey man, I come from a peaceful place, and actually taken from it's a line by Dukes on his first album. I'm not a gangster, Kasiame I rough. I made a whole joint about that. We
you used that as a hook and a sample on one of your joints.
Motswako originated.
If it was say back in the 70s, 80s, Nonalma Panzola, Nonalma Ivy.
Yep.
We the guys that are fresh, that love the ladies, that are chilled, But I think for me it was just longevity, How do you play the long game,
Yeah, stay out of the smoke. Yeah?
Stay out of the smoke. Yeah,
Which
that's
I
it.
somehow have a hard time with. I don't get how. I always end up I always seemingly end up in some sort of, but
you just got that look, bro. All the times I run into you, you just look like
like I'm ready for it.
Zinga's like those white dudes. Like kila wana when they say there's a shooting there, everybody's running that way, and it's like, yo, where?
A bit, actually.
Yeah,
a bit.
But I'm starting to loosen up, where you are like almost 2 decades deep in the game. There's a lot to say, a lot of stories to share,
2
a lot of
decades is
jewels
crazy.
to share, a lot of wisdom, And and these moments kind of also just revitalize, or just kind of, I get to go into my memory bank and go, oh, snap.
And go sit there, actually.
Yeah, that moment was amazing. Yeah.
Which is dope, because you guys invited me to the Maftan High screening in Rosebank. That was 2 weeks ago, no? So I saw it before you guys did. Just
Episode 1.
We went in and screened out there at Stir Chemical out there, which is big business also. How do we, on the day you were like, we pulled this off in a week. I'm like, okay then. Okay then. How does that even happen? Or is that just the brand's bandwidth? It's like you can just call Stir Chemical in Rosebank and say, yo, we want to actually just play our new film out there.
Look, it's a function of a couple things. I think the motswako spirit and the Khuli and Refiloe spirit has been one where if people say no, we say yes louder, right? Like we've always been those guys.
Fire.
And also over and above that, it's networks that we've built over the years. Mm-hmm. And I think it's that thing where you move in such a way where you're able to break bread with people that you've encountered. So a lot of that kind of stuff happens because we've always just left a good footprint where we've gone. So when we made that decision, it was like the Thursday. Actually, it was exactly a week. Where we're like, okay, no, actually, let's do a screening. And it wasn't PowerPoints and emails. It was picking up of phone calls to specific individuals to say this is what we're looking to do. And shout out to those people. Shout out to Mutewa from Stokiniko. Shout out to the Castle Light team. Shout out to Techno and all the other guys who came on board, because they also, to your point, recognize the equity of the brand as well.
Yeah, you guys brought beer to the cinema. I was like, this is big business. I'm like, you guys got us living different. That was fire.
No, for sure.
Now, even when you say that, and I'm looking at you while you're saying it, and it sounds so normal to you, and it takes me back to like you as a kid, and for both of you, of course, because you guys have come all the way here, not only in your careers, but just as humans. It's like, does that, when you think about that, like to be able to just say, oh, okay, we're gonna go, like the cinema was a whole nother thing for us as kids growing up.
Wow, yeah.
And now you guys are people that can call and reserve, like,
and I think that's what Refiloe was trying to accomplish. He's like, well, we in the movie business now. You gotta make a statement.
Yeah.
Rap star, movie star. Now you were elevating, right? And I remember I wanted us to go small. So a couple spaces we checked out. And he's like, yo, I'm chatting to Motel. Let's go big.
I got you. He's like, I got you.
Let's go 200 seats. I'm like, yo, I don't want no empty spaces. We don't have budget for seat fillers.
Yeah,
all right. So and that moment, man, I remember just walking in, going, wow. Took me back to Mavtown Heights, the event, the nerves,
Yeah.
I would always worry if it's gonna work out, and it always works out, And being in the theater also taps into that childhood in you,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went from begging Ma to go watch a movie,
Yeah,
and Ma
exactly.
going "Akona chelete," to now screening your own. Yeah, that's quite a leap.
That's different.
Yeah.
And to have those numbers and make those calls, like you always knew you were going to be that guy, Ref?
I wouldn't say I knew it, but I did know that one thing I'm grateful to my late parents for is that they kind of made sure we were in spaces where we needed to not be apologetic, right? Like to take us, it's normal for kids now to go to interracial schools. But what you need to understand is that my older brother was the first of 5 black kids in all of Johannesburg to go to a black school, along with the CEO of Standard Bank, Sim Chabalala, and a couple other dudes. Like, I don't know how they did this, because when I'm paying for these fees right now, I'm like, I don't know how they had that kind of bandwidth. But they did that, right? And they put us in spaces where a lot of the times you needed to put your chest out and say, I'm here, right? So I think it's that spirit that they inculcated in us that made it possible for us to walk into these spaces knowing that we were more than enough. Yeah.
Made it even possible for you to say inculcated.
Only Ref.
I'm like, woo.
Only Ref.
So motswako is what brings us here. Also Mavtown Heights, but motswako is what births that. And when I was sitting there watching at the screening, of course, and I had never, thank you, by the way, for putting that together. I think that's first and foremost. Because it's like, especially with the internet and how fast it's moving now,
Yeah.
so much history is being rewritten on the spot. It's like,
Correct, yeah.
all of a sudden, some new kid is the GOAT. It's like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
There's
Correct.
people who did things that are like undoable, and at a time when it was impossible, and when I was watching that, the story behind motswako was very important. I was like, oh damn, we would have never known this,
Yeah.
right? So there's first the meaning of motswako, and that's mix, right, is what you said on the
Yeah.
It's a mixture.
Yeah, please go into that.
Yeah, I enjoyed episode 1 particularly because we had Stone break down
Exactly.
his meaning of motswako, and we got it from him, right? And he was trying to come up with a name for
A remix.
a remix, Kastswana.
And there was no word.
There was no word,
The closest thing was Gotswakanza.
motswako, right?
Yes.
And then following Jabba, early in his career, early in our careers, before we could even call it a career, how I identified with motswako was, I'm Kulani, that's Zulu,
Yeah,
Nguni,
that was fire
Murule.
too.
right? And then you've got Jabulani Tsambo, deep in the heart of Mafikeng. So, it felt like a clan, a cult of these like outcasts, because you stood out in Mafikeng
When you
back
have to
then.
say present,
I'm fine. I hated it.
And you happy your second.
I hated
and
it.
if they gave that second name of yours as well, man.
I'm fine.
Come on, we can leak it here.
They're gonna find it, these scammers anyway. Dog.
But it's such a powerful name. But yes, it would have
My
stood
man,
out.
as a kid, I hated it so much, Z. I remember when we moved from Unit 2 to the hood to Munsiwa, and I was tired of it. I was just like, damn, every time I have to introduce myself, it's just like, cool, oing, ulitebele. You know? And litebele then sounded
Litebele
like...
was like an insult
it
back
was
then,
like, yo.
Which means what exactly?
Ndebele.
Oh, yes.
Yo, so that's why I can be rude, right?
Damn.
And remember, you're growing up in the times of Bhuda T. This is a place
Which
for
is
Botswana.
yeah, very.
So I'm probably one of like maybe 5, 10. There weren't too many, right? And I remember switching my name. Got to this neighborhood, I switched it. I got the direct translation for it. Gare ke golang from today.
Oh yeah, you just.
I switched it. Dudes would come to my house, and it was a golang thing. My mom was like, I want a golang. And I would forget, you know. And then it was that deep for me. And motswako made me embrace the name even more.
Yeah, because it made you feel like, okay.
It made me feel like, you know, there's a bit of, you know, it gives me edge to be this mix, right? Because my family's mixed. You've got my grandname Xhosa. You've got Botswana kae mo Burule. My mom can speak Ndebele, Xhosa, Zulu. So you know what I mean? And I started embracing that as opposed to being ashamed of it.
That's fire. Even you guys mentioning Stone, I think that's another thing that was, I mean, for me and a lot of maybe people from my generation missing from that history of motswako. It's like, as far back as we can go, we'll probably do like Jabba, because that's like the first boom. It's like, oh, wow, music and lights, you know? It's like when you guys put Stone on it, as much as he was doing the rap, it's like, oh yeah, that was Bongo Muffin. We don't really go even that far back. And then when you guys just gave him his good 5 minutes on the first, I'm like, oh damn, Stone is actually the actual man.
He's the guy, original light skin. Original light skin.
Lord of. Original Lord of.
Original
Dude
Lord
of all
of.
time. First time I saw Stone, he used to go by the name Stone Cold T. On the basketball court. On the side is just the dollies watching.
The dollies have always loved Stone.
I would watch Stone like, damn, I just want to be as cool as this guy. Yeah, man. Rev getting Stone on the docky was such a.
I think it was important, and I think it's important on so many levels. Yes, it's the language. But let's also remember that Stone then bridged the gap, and he was the Tswana dude along with Tebe. Let's give him his flowers.
Oh,
who were on the Kwaito tip, right?
Let's not play with Tebe.
Right? No, let's not play with Tebe, right? Who were on the Kwaito tip, right? And when you start to consider sonically what then motswako goes on to become, you know, you listen to the various things that get pulled in. You can hear that it was always around trying to bridge gaps and mix things. So I think it was a really nice touch to have somebody who had lived in that world, but then been inspired by this world that he unconsciously birthed. And so I thought it was an important voice to add.
No, that was fire for me. And then, of course, you guys break down motswako and its origination. The motswako originator. And it's origination, right? Actually, let me check. let me confirm before I, make myself look silly. Then came the Mabana story, right? That also for me was fun. I was like, wait, what was happening that side?
Yeah.
So please explain Mabana and what that seemingly has created for not just Mavtown and them sides, but what it has built for SA as a whole, because the impact is insane.
Yeah, I think in the story we just zoom into motswako, right? And I'll let Khuli speak to that, and I'll actually then break it out a little wider in terms of Bhuda T. So please start with the Mabana story.
Oh yeah, Mabana, a recreation center, right? I think when we tell the story on the docky, I was sharing a moment. It was a moment when I witnessed greatness for the first time.
Yeah.
Another light-skinned fella. There's dark-skinned dudes were doing so great back
we gotta
then.
fight for the light
It goes by the name of Tseko Mokhotsi. That's
Correct.
another documentary in the pipeline.
Correct.
I hope he gets to see this. And I'm watching this man flip like 100 times. He's alone, right? So Komabana, you had gymnastics, you had karate, the Dean's Base fellas, karate cats. You had the toy room, right? That's for, it was like a daycare. It used to be run by Toadie's aunt, I think, Mani Tidi.
Yeah.
You had the music room, you had dance, so culture, right? And there you had Tebo Khobokwe, who was like
World champion
World
pole
champion.
dancer.
Crazy.
Yeah. World champion gymnast.
you had
Right.
Kagiso, you had Tseko Mokhotsi,
Yeah.
world champion gymnast.
Yeah, the best in the world.
In
Right.
the world is
Correct.
crazy.
Right? From what is essentially what they refer to as a TBV state or TBW, I can't remember, but a homeland.
It was a homeland.
It was a space designed to basically contain. And what, rest in peace, somebody like a Lucas Mangope managed to achieve in that space. Lucas Mangope. Is phenomenal insofar as, creating these spaces where culture could thrive. You have to, I think there's a documentary around the Bob story, which is the broadcasting, right? Like those facilities over there were at some point the best in the Southern Hemisphere. This man invested that heavily into arts and culture. People who use those studios include Michael Jackson, Jay-Z, Beyonce, you name them, they've been at those studios because they were that amazing. I remember
top
that
tier.
desk, that 900 channel desk, that was the only one of its kind.
That's BRS.
On country, no. Continent.
Continent. Ooh, excuse
cool.
me.
So, you've got to understand, culture was a real thing there.
Yeah.
And excellence was a real thing, I
Yeah.
think.
It was respected.
And
yeah.
even though, the rest of the country viewed us as kind of brainwashed and, it produced excellence. What I'll always attribute my success to just being born at the right place at the right time.
At the right place, the right time, man.
Real talk.
Yeah, because even right now, recreational centers aren't even a thing anymore.
Mate, schools don't have PT, physical training anymore. They don't have arts programs.
Yeah,
It's
so-
crazy. It's like
Yeah.
it's no longer a real thing. And a country that doesn't understand who they are culturally is a country almost destined to forget their history.
Yeah. There was so much order, dude, growing up there. I mean, and I think even when I said it in the docky, I didn't contextualize it, right? If I was call it I'm sick and mom needs to come pick me up, it's around 12 midday or 11 a.m. in the morning, I'm heading home. The streets are quiet. You don't find some kid.
There's no
walking-
loitering.
No.
Yeah.
None of that. They actually had a spot where they used to whip kids. You couldn't be found. Walking
Sleeping.
around, gallivanting.
sleeping.
You know what I mean? And then you had a routine. So from fresh out from school, I'd go straight to Maana. So then I picked up tumbling and the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
And
this
then-
guy can do
Yeah.
that.
To this day?
I can flip.
To this day, Khuli.
I remember 5 years ago, this homie could do backflips and stuff.
Khuli to this day is crazy. That's that's super impressive.
Yeah, I tried it the other day and
That means that athleticism, you've carried it with you all the way.
So you build that discipline, man. And but for me, it was what I took from that was imagination. Because first you see it, it's damn, if I could do a double back and land and then you make it happen.
Yeah.
And then that's why I think that probably explains why even my rap style flow was complex. You know what I mean? And
Oh, talk that shit.
you feel me? Yeah, I come from that world. I come from mind bending.
You come from
Yeah, you know. And
From pushing yourself.
Yeah.
And the diligence to be able to systematically work at it.
Yeah. So those guys deserve their flowers, man. Tsako Mkhotsi, there's Bo Tato Murubani, there's a lot of guys, Bo so I'd love to tell that story.
And even on the broadcasting side, right? Like you've got to understand Nothemba Madumo.
Yeah.
Jazz encyclopedia. Like there's nobody who is a better jazz broadcaster on this continent. Was shaped by Bob TV. You've got Bob Mabena that comes from there. You've got Glenn Lewis that comes from there. You've got, I'm trying to think about the prominent
Melanie San.
Melanie San comes from that school.
Mel. Like, half Japanese.
Coming up.
Yeah, I remember Young Mel. Titch Mataz, Glenn Lewis. Yeah. I remember as a kid, I thought Glenn Lewis was from America.
Exactly.
It did feel that way, actually.
The dude was like built. He was always riding on his...
And the thing is that the youngins won't get it. But like when you talk about the first generation of radio that came into this country, you've got to give those guys their flowers. They are literally the cornerstone of what then happened with broadcast. You know what I mean? So like you really need to appreciate that this is the melting pot that these guys come from.
And those were our first stars, actually.
Those were the first stars.
Even the presenters, it was like, wow.
Dude, we had our own awards back then. The Marang Awards, that was for the broadcasters. Little Todi's mom, Todi Mac's mom was a broadcaster on Radio Mabatu, I think on Bob as well. Yeah, man. So we grew up in that culture. And I grew up right next door. So my family. So there's no music culture in my family. Like, I didn't grow up in a family that was collecting LPs. If my uncle Pingos did, right?
What a cool dude.
Yeah, but my gran was not about that. My mom wasn't about that. Right next door was L Skills lately, his older brother.
L Skills Crowded Crew. Remember, we're talking to Gen Alphas and Gen Zs.
All these names, they're gonna go hit the Googles for all of this.
Crowded Crew.
We mentioned Crowded Crew on episode 1, and next door is where all these stars, used to come visit. Bob Mabena lived there at Aldrin Mokhotsi's.
Aldrin, how could we forget Aldrin?
Mokhotsi was on, I think, he's been Radio Metro.
And he's a late Aldrin legend. Like, there's no question about it.
Yeah, from the house scene, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I stumbled on hip-hop, house music. So I used to go over there, go hang out. I'd spend my days over there. We had the TV. They used to come by our house. They had the music. We had the TV.
That's the exchange.
That was the trade. Yeah. So, yeah, man, that's how it started.
So how do you become motswako, actually?
It's a dare.
Motswako, another...
How do you become that?
How do we... It starts around... late 90s, I'd say. Prof, who's the
another
pioneer,
origin group.
Yeah, pioneer of Motswako. These are the guys that actually came up with the Yona tagline for YFM back then. They had the jingle, and Prof. Very close. Our families were very close. As a younging, I used to go over there, he'd babysit, whatever. And the first time, and we actually did the lunch bar ad was based on that on that story. I don't know if you see my lunch bar ad.
I seen you doing business. I was gonna pocket check you later.
So I shared a moment about watching Prof rap for me. One time I was over at his house. We chill in his room. He shuts the lights down. He gives me this lamp. I switch on the lamp. He puts me on like a closet type of thingy. And then I put the spotlight on him. And he starts rapping like a LL Cool J. Whatever that was hot back then. And I was like, damn, I like to do this. And we developed this relationship. Years go by. He's in Joburg now. He's at Wits. and used to bring me YFM tapes, Rap Activity Jam,
Yeah.
to just keep me on the pulse.
To be like, yo, look at what's going on out there.
He loved my whole thing. He loved the flow, and it was a dare. Motswako started out as a dare. It's like, you've got this cadence, but I dare you to try it Gastswana. And I tried it, and
Let
it
me
sucked.
see if you're really the boy.
And it was tough. I mean, my first bars were trash. First bars were trash,
Yeah.
and but then it became a challenge. Then we met Jabba. Jabba had just dropped the introduction, and then it
And
became
it
interesting.
being tough isn't something that was just that for you, because you guys all expressed that. You, Tody, and like, you guys all said like the switch, and you guys feel like the Tswana, because with Zulu, it's much easier. Like it isn't that tough to be like, okay, yeah, I'm knee deep in the English, but if
Yeah.
I switch, it's like, oh damn, this actually feels comfortable. Like, so when you guys were like, yo, hey, the switch was not easy to do, I was like, oh damn. And which is also so crazy because of how it sounds. Like, you guys
Yeah.
make it sounds like it rolls off so smooth and so easy.
Yeah, and I think that was the tough part. It was, how do you make it easy on the ears? And then in the beginning, you would try and pull the biggest, hardest Tswana words to show, that you had it like that. But then at some point, it was like, geez, how do we sound relatable? How do we sound like we talk? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, not like a textbook, but how you sound when you're on the street.
Because you have Stone Waboga. He's a poet.
Yeah.
Well, I can't know Boga Zulu.
We are.
It's actually something similar. Well, you actually, as you said that, I'm thinking, konje yini, ugu-
Njengembo.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm like, I need to bring something new to this thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Tody used to say we just need to rap like we talk. Right, it needs to sound like chicken and brashuga around the way. I was never a gangster, so you pick up dialect, but it still has to be authentically Tswana. You know what I mean? It needs to have a 5-year-old limagogo vibing to it for two different
have to
reasons.
be able to feel it too,
Yeah, it was hard. Yeah, I find it harder now.
Harder now?
The Stone was saying to me, there's a book by Vita Sefalana Sa Setswana. For him to stay fresh, he picks up that book now
Oh,
and
yeah?
then. 'Cause I've been in Joburg, since 2001, 2. You lose your tongue.
Oh, yeah,
You should hear me on those Radio Mutu interviews.
Yeah,
You
where
go
they
through it
where
when
they
you're
get
there.
versus.
Sound like a sellout.
You sound like a Joburg
So
nigga.
like, oh man, what happened?
Damn.
Yeah.
Actually, when you mentioned the origin of starting with like trying to find the biggest word, like I immediately thought of because initially it did have that. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And then
I don't know what nigga. I'm like, I don't know what nigga.
Nah,
is
sit
doing.
down to it.
I feel like you were actually one of, if not the very first nigga to make, okay, I mean, there's Jabba, of course, but you were like the first nigga to make it feel like, oh, damn, yeah, I can vibe with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I actually had this itch, like when it came to you, like it made me feel like, oh, I wish I had that Twilight in me just to be able to just throw a verse like this.
Just to blend in there. We've never done joints together.
Ever.
It's weird,
Nah,
right?
this one is fronting like he's put the pen down. He's gonna pick up the pen and the mic, and when he's
We're
ready,
gonna edit
there'll
this
be a
out.
feature.
We're gonna edit this out. And I was
When you're ready, he'll feature.
I'm
on
not
your next
retiring
project.
from this thing.
It's-
Take it from me, bro.
damn near impossible.
Yeah.
You tried, man.
Bro.
I felt like I saw you
day,
like-
till this day. I'm like, we're fucking done. We're done. you know, until you have a hot verse. And you're like, all right,
it's like,
cool.
still the boy.
Let's go again.
Also, whenever you hear like a fire beat,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, the spirit of motswako has always had partnership, featuring, togetherness, and I think you guys commended that to Jabba, because he brought y'all this side. He caught y'all doing what y'all was doing, and he didn't know that there were other people like him who existed, and was like, okay, you guys have to come back to the city with me.
Dude, it was, you know, since we're in the movie business, we gonna need a scene in one of these movies, right? Because I remember when he called us for a meeting, Jabba neba bloma ko Sansaba Blomara ko Unit 5, and he had the cottage. Jabba was soft. You know? Now that I think about it, Jabba, big living soft.
He was nice.
He had a cottage with so you could see the staircase from outside that leads up to his cottage. Most beautiful garden. Mama Terry, shout out. Most beautiful house.
Come on
beautiful
now.
home. Beautiful sisters. Right? And
Respectfully.
you know, and called us for a meeting, and at the time we've had a couple ciphers together at parties, whatnot. Jabba starts obsessing over the idea of becoming a crew.
Yeah.
I'm just getting excited, like, okay, this is starting to sound like we're going to Joburg. I wanted, if there's anything I wanted more, was just to migrate, Chief, because I knew it was on the other side, right?
You knew it was gonna happen if you got
and Jabba goes, listen, bro. And this was so deep because then at the time he is becoming spiritual. He's deep in the Bible. And the reference was, you know, Jesus and his disciples.
Come on now. Come on, Jabba. That's the goal.
Jabba is talking, yo, we're going to do this for the man upstairs and we will never lose. I'm the youngest in the crew, you know. It's like, listen, if we do this for Mudimu, we will never lose. You guys follow my lead. We're going to move
What a guy.
to Joburg. You guys will check up at my spot. I'm going to move a couple blocks down the road. My girlfriend stays there. I'm going to check up with her. No, my mom should never know about this.
Yeah.
You know, and but it was hard conditions because you couldn't just, you know, go in and out as you please, right? And that's how it started, man. We moved down. We stayed in that in this apartment that had the Botswana flag. It felt like a cult.
Felt like you guys were there to come and
We
really.
had this pop flag where he got it.
On a mission. Yeah.
And we had this small Wi-Fi, beats,
Hi-fi.
Hi-Fi.
Yes.
Wi-Fi now, hi-fi back then.
That's how long we've been around. From the hi-fi to the Wi-Fi. All right, small, no TV, just
music.
scripts,
Right.
some greens,
Some trees. Yeah, climb a tree.
not a lot of food. Fit.
Yeah, no, things.
Snack. Hey, this is the grind.
This is the
Dudes
come
will come visit with more greens. I'm like, where's the food? You know? And we didn't go out much. And I think that was the time we got to kind of work the muscle, the lyricism, sharpen it, sharpen the saw. And as tough as it was, because it was tough, B. So I wanted to be outside, you know?
Yeah, you want to show face.
I wanted to see Joburg, and we stayed indoors and we worked until we were ready. Yeah.
You were in here for a camp. Now, there's also then the hardship of the language not crossing over nationally. Because we didn't have that much of it, and the Nguni, of course, is in front of that. which leads y'all to a predicament where you guys are now in a boardroom being talked into trying to quiet this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, speak on that.
Yeah. Jabba's leadership was just on another level. Now, just thinking back in hindsight how young he was. Yeah. And
Crazy.
the L's he had to take. So he was taking all the L's. So now, Nele curtain raiser for your Mendoza. Mendoza was the biggest act. Kwaito's at its peak.
Yeah, Kwaito's on fire at that time.
He's like the first, I think, rap signee.
Yeah, at BM, was
at
it
CCP.
CCP, yeah.
They were trying this thing out. And now I understand why he needed a posse. Because it must have been really hard to take all those L's and you don't
one
have.
man,
Yeah. So, and they weren't getting it. Nobody was getting it. I remember him getting booed. And
Damn.
I remember him getting a clearance from a label.
Yes.
Saying, nah.
This is not working this time.
Yeah. I remember him going into a mental meltdown because that's rejection at its highest, right? When a label drops you.
Yeah, that's when it's like, oh, damn.
On that day, he was getting dropped with Fistas. Fistas was laughing about this thing. He was like, all right, cool.
Like,
I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
And so I've always wondered where Refiloe was, where Ref was at that time. Because, Refiloe, at this point, Refiloe is more passionate about motswako than I am. Real talk.
Already?
No, he's been. Like, real passion. And I've always wondered, where was Refiloe at the time? Is he in the audience watching? When did you get introduced to motswako?
Jabba, on why? I just remember there was this dude who would come on. Like, it's crazy how the universe works. I literally was speaking to Fresh, like, just before we started the podcast. So, like, the rap activity jams, all that stuff that's going on, like, you're hearing this thing that's happening, which is not Kwaito, it's not Nguni, it's something else. And this guy's got this flow, he's got this husky voice. And it's like, okay, this is interesting. What's going on here, right? And you're listening to this guy. And I remember there was this one freestyle he did where he was talking about how no one was recognizing and basically how broke he was. And the whole freestyle was about that. And I was like, yo, this guy is one of the nicest guys I've ever heard with it, right? So that's my introduction to this thing, right?
And what do you do with that?
Yo, I just keep listening out because you've got to understand at that time, I also kind of had started a music journey, but similarly, like I always started it knowing I never wanted to be in front of the camera.
Yeah.
Right. So like I was like playing with this management thing, but you got to understand that management in the 80s was something labels in the 90s, apologies, was something labels weren't even trying to hear, I've gone on to become very good he's a hot man. I've worked with him, but I remember like Mkize at Sony, right? He was like head of A&R for Sony Records in the 90s, and I remember I started managing my first group, and I remember him listening, asking the group to leave and saying, mate, there's no room here for a manager. It's us and it's this group. So we make all that noise, but not in here. It was like that. That was the environment at that point in time.
Had you come into the room, like, also establishing yourself?
Mate, I was introduced as the manager at that time.
But he felt the need to let you
just
know
to make
early,
it clear. Like, listen.
Big dog, it's not Coco
It's
like
not that kind of party, player. Right? But, credit to him, over the years, he's gone on to be a guy that I've had the privilege of working with and also learning from, right? But those moments were very formative for me. Like, you can understand, like, I'm a young dude who I think didn't have the confidence that you see now. And for many years, it kind of made me need to take a step back. I went into corporate and did other things. But all the whilst I was doing all these other things, I was listening to this stuff beginning to play out. And I was like, there's something here that I think is going to change the world. Because I'm also a guy who, there's a very close friend of mine, Cleo. It was his birthday yesterday. Cleo's one. Like his dad was bringing us Run DMC tapes in '86 when he would go study. So we knew this thing called hip hop, but like no one around us knew this thing, right? And we kept like listening to Run DMC, Kumo D, all of this thing, and we knew this thing called hip hop. Through the school years, we used to rap, we used to do this, we formed rap groups at school, the whole 9 yards, but it was literally like...
Which would sound crazy to this audience.
You
like
were an
they
island,
grew
man.
up in hip-hop.
You used to get beaten up in the hoods. Like
For being like
real
that,
talk,
yeah,
you used to
yeah,
actually
yeah.
get beaten up in the hoods. But we punk. We were
Yeah,
busy
I'm a
punk.
punk, yeah.
I'm a punk. It used to be like that, right? So like, as I say, this all plays out. That's where I first heard Jabba. Then I start to hear it, and it just started to blend in. At that time as well, I remember I grew up with Kabelo. Right, so there's Kabelo, there's Makesh, there's all of those guys. There's that energy and all of that happening there. Hip hop artists at heart as well.
Of course.
Hip hop artists as
And
well at
wasn't
heart.
for them.
Yeah.
That was a through pass
Yeah.
To hip hop, right?
to hip hop.
Yeah, facts.
And I don't know.
And people don't recognize
I don't
that,
think we
right?
celebrate that enough.
Take it easy. Rap EP. Yes, it sold 600 records. But then I remember they going away, coming back with Palafala. But when you listen to that Palafala EP,
The
you've got
verses also
Dog. Right?
And the same format Crowded Crew used to drop like that. So drop a Kwaito joint and drop a hip hop joint.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
Correct.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? What was? It's like back to the being bullied for being rap. Now imagine that. So you go through that, then you try find, recreate it and make it authentic. Then you have hip hop
Tell you it's not hip hop.
tell you it's not hip hop.
There was that debate. Don't forget that
Yes,
debate.
also.
So we'll do shows where, some guys would jump on and go, say real hip hop. Real hip hop. And you would know it's a jab to us.
Yeah.
So,
These niggas with this shit.
you run to dudes, go, yeah, you nice, but you're doing that quiet hop shit, right? It's that quiet hop shit.
for real, like that.
Yeah.
It was like meant to be a
I'm like,
serious
no,
offense
Exactly.
at that time.
it's
Like,
motswako, yeah. So, but I'd really love to hear you on that real hip hop, though.
Yeah.
There was always like a sub, like,
but can you do like
yeah, this is fine,
Yeah,
but
that's cool, it's
it
cool.
ain't real. So, yeah, man, we took too many L's.
So, of course, we're going to skip through because you have history. You guys become Murafe, you do your thing, and I want to skip right through to Motswako Originator. And this is when you guys, you have a little bit of success with the group, you're doing this, you're doing that, but everybody feels like, come on, yellow nigga, get out there and save the day. Like, you the pretty nigga, you got the flow, go out there and fight for us.
I was the quiet one. My confidence will come alive on stage in the studio. But if you go run those tapes, go check the interviews. I said nothing on those. So the idea of going solo terrified the living shit out of me. Real talk. That was Toadie's idea. And we only spoke about it once, and he acted on it. Right? So, and this is now Motherland Crunk era. Now check this. It's about 3 yellow bones, right? No, 2. You've got
2 and a singer.
rest in peace.
2 and vocals.
Rest in peace, Luther.
Yeah. Oh,
yes!
There were 4 of them. Yeah.
Luther from Selimatunzi Dugudu, who's had success as a TV
Yo,
host.
TV too, right?
Kid star. Right?
Kid stop it.
You've got
Brenda
NES.
Fuss's son.
Not
is in
God.
this group, bro.
Yeah, not God. Also, he's on fire with the Amaki kid.
fresh
He's-
out of the US,
and he's
right?
dancing and he's it's
Tippy toes.
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard.
You've got the originator from POC Scheme.
Yo.
From Ishmael to Ismail. And then you've got the goddess's son.
Yo,
Bro, That was a super group, though.
Wow.
Like, for real,
If
for real.
there ever was
That's a
one,
super
it was that.
Yeah.
Those guys made it hard for us to breathe.
And they had a sound
Facts.
that was
They
local but international, right? Like, I remember hearing Motherland Crunk, like Jabba, and the first time I was
It's like,
okay.
what is this?
Yo, right?
The Maskandi guitars,
Yo.
but now the layers with the American
Yeah.
and the skateboarding
Yeah.
and the swag with the
Exactly.
Evisus. It's
Yeah.
like, what is
Yeah.
happening here? And it was
and
a
their
frenzy.
timing was so impeccable because this is that era. It's like
Yeah.
what year is that? That's like
20...
Yeah, that's
2006,
Southern
2007,
Yeah,
2008.
2006,
Crunk is
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Snap your fingers. Yeah.
they made it authentic. We on our second album, and first single bombed, second single bombed, third single we dropped Lekwalo to Motswako. Ha, we back on the road again. But you can feel there's a decline.
In the love.
Then you didn't have the hashtag and the likes and the retweets. You
And
had
the shooter following you, giving you the content.
You had the crowd.
Yeah, you had to feel it in real time.
You felt it real time because it was like, are
Yeah,
y'all
this
ready
don't
for
feel-
Morafi? Yay!
Yeah. Not
Are y'all ready for Jonesy? Oh my God!
So it's hitting you smack bam in the face.
Like, you backstage.
Like,
Real
oh,
time.
damn.
So either your confidence drops
Or you go in there.
or you go in there and remind them.
Exactly who
hey.
you are.
Then it's the groupie love. There's no retweets, no likes.
All
Right?
of it is real.
You getting off the stairs, off stage. They're either coming
Or they ain't.
or they're not.
Simple. Simple.
And there'll be moments where you see them literally go,
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
we're going
Okay,
over
oh,
there.
is it-
Who's the hotelers?
Bro.
Oh, damn.
That stuff is wild. I remember this one
That
story.
was rough.
I remember this one story Mokabelo told me. So, like, this is where Mutu is big, right? And TKZ is, like, trying to get in. Like, I think Palafala's just come out. It's still bubbling. And these guys start to perform, and this promoter put them after Mutu.
After I'm doing this.
Oh, just before Mutu. Just before
just
Mutu.
before, okay.
So they start to perform, and this audience started to go, Mutu. So it was real like that, bro.
That means move.
Chad, move from Mutu.
It's like, guys, we good with this. Like,
Yeah, it was harsh back then, dog. Or
yeah, I think
or
the
you would
kids
get
also.
Yo, that's
Yeah,
what.
they-
And then remember, back then promoters used to let people have cans. So if you didn't move, then it would be the cans on the stage. And they'd throw that, it would rain cans, bro.
And that was like, that was music and stage etiquette. That was a part of how this thing works. It's
Yeah.
like, even for the artists, like, yo, it's on you, big dog. Good
Exactly.
luck. Because we gave them cans. The rotten tomato thing is not like a concept. It's
No.
not a...
No, they didn't drag you on Twitter.
Like,
they dragged you.
those things are real. It's like,
They dragged you.
they dragged you in real time.
I don't know how we survived those, dog.
The bravery of now naming yourself the Motswako originator, especially speaking on
Yeah.
how you weren't actually that comfortable
Yeah.
with the idea, but that
Toady goes, you're going solo. No one's gonna see that coming, right? I'm like, dog, that's 3 verses and a hook. It's like, don't worry, we're gonna take some of our old shit,
yeah.
all right? My first record was Futumata.
On the
The
slicker.
hook.
On the was it?
On the hook, we sampled the Toady verse from the whole thing.
Yeah.
Wabona lwena fethu kitso natsena fethu all of a
Yeah.
sudden nasoro wabona mona fethu.
Yeah.
Yeah, we took that. Damn, Toady should be an exec. Toady goes and he shops that to Slicker.
Who was compiling the CDs for? Was it Hype Magazine?
It was the hip hop Sprite
Sprite, yeah. They used to do those with
tour.
mixtapes that used to go with the Hype magazine. Oh,
Yeah.
And he had a
Hype magazine,
Sprite mixtape tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shop that, and then Slicker put that on the mixtape, and then I started touring as a solo. Then I'm like, oh,
Fire.
damn. Okay, now we deep into this thing. It's like, now you got to work on the album. It's too late.
Yeah.
All right. Motswako Originator, that came from watching a Muhammad Ali documentary.
Fire.
And there's a part where he talks about how Muhammad called himself the greatest before his first fight.
Correct. Words become things.
Fire.
Words become
Fire.
Yeah. And yeah, and that's why I did it. And some OGs didn't like it.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
You know, for me, it was just like, no, I'm just coining a term. I'm just building a brand. You know what I mean? You cannot identify with you as a Motswako originator too. It's just a word. It doesn't mean I'm the first one to do it. But the plan is, this is how I want it to be remembered.
Yeah, you're already etching it in history as. And Ref, what's your proximity then to the story at that point?
Yo, so Khaukhela Mapai, who was my business partner, who we started Dream Team with. We had started Dream Team, I think, a year
The
before.
management, there's kids watching.
Oh, yes.
Dream Team
Talent
was
management.
before.
Hey, Ghana, we've got to
Eish.
contextualize these things. So we had started that, and we were doing well. I mean, obviously, we had music clients. We did a lot of stuff. Like, we're doing a lot of stuff like that Big Sync deal with TKZ and MTN and all of that stuff that was happening in that year before. And I think what I'd always been clear with Khauza about at that point was that we needed, yes, it's great to have an established act, but we need to build out to really be able to say we've done this thing. We need to build out new talent. So at that point in time, his cousin, Ghana, what's his name?
Damn.
Yeah.
Respectfully, cousin.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
Respectfully, sorry, it's just camera. Morris, thank you. Morris.
Your Morris would kill me for
Yeah,
this.
Morris. Yeah.
Morris, who pieced this relation.
Oh, fire.
Who
Correct.
put us in the room
Fire.
together.
Correct.
Back then, bro, so I think the album is already out.
The album is out. Like, this is a moment he won't forget. He will probably forget.
Yeah.
There was somebody who had passed on. Okay, I need to shout out somebody else because these things all
Please.
happen at the same time. So I was also building a movement with the late Wandi Nzimande, a guy who is my brother and I'll forever love. We were doing something called Analog Nights at the time. He performed there, actually.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Cap.
I used to
Cash
fear
time
the
fam.
shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like, Ref was not playing. Like, when you go to the events, like, because our smashes and, I used to push the boundaries and do what I like. But whenever he was around, I'd be like, I know Big Dog
Let's
doesn't
get
play.
serious.
Like,
But you know what? It was always just about making sure, like, the people that, because you can understand when we built that movement, it was the age and the era of the DJ. It's funny we're cycling back into that now, right? But live musicians were secondary to DJs.
Yeah.
So we were clear that we wanted to be able to give artistry a platform. So if you were going to get there, we were giving you a connoisseur audience, and we needed you to come there, A game, and deliver so that we could push this thing that was South African music.
Analog Nights, wow.
Right?
Sure. You just took me back.
So we're building that movement, and obviously because we've got to curate for this, Wandi was Khuli's fan, okay? So we're at this memorial at Baseline, and we're standing outside. This is maybe a day or two before Morris says, hey, by the way, Khuli.
Yeah.
And you came past, and you had a conversation with Wandi. And he asked you about the album, and you're like, we've only sold 600 records, and you were despondent. And he was like, Refiloe, if there's anybody you need to work with, it's that kid. And I was like, okay, bookmark.
Damn.
Right?
That's fire.
2 days later, Morris then says, there's this kid.
Let's
and
do
I was
that
like, okay,
thing.
that's divinity now. And I was like, okay, cool. Set the meeting. And I don't know if I remember that thing about words into things. What I said to you when we were presenting to you, because like did a whole presentation, all 9 years. I said to you, in 3 years, we'll make you the largest male artist
And
in
they
the country.
did.
And they did, big dog, and they did.
But I knew it from the moment I walked into that office. Shout out to Morris. Morris had the Honda. What was he whipping there?
I can't remember. I think it was the Honda.
And so he had the car. I didn't have a car. It's crazy. We used to bump that Dark and Blue album all day,
Yeah,
every
that was a dope
day,
album.
right?
Yeah.
And
She's check
I had a thing with Nike at the time, so I used to just give him a lot of drip.
Yeah.
And he just had this obsession to he just badly wanted to see me win.
That's fine. You need them type people.
That kid badly wanted to see me win, and he reached out to his brother-in-law. He's like, yo, man, Khauza, you gotta meet Khauza. And I think you guys had just signed Tembisiet.
Yeah, we had a lot of people sign that.
Yeah, Tembisiet and TKZ.
By the way, I'm gonna need the people that are watching this to have a count of how many goats have been named in this episode. This is crazy.
Yeah.
So Kobokwe was with us at one stage. Like we got a lot of people signed to us, music and otherwise. Like when I say we were doing okay, we were doing pretty well.
Yeah. So at this point, he's trying to let me know, bro, you can't sleep on Khauhelo.
Yeah.
Because at the time, he had mentioned him a couple times. I just didn't know who he was. I was like, it doesn't sound like
Just
a guy who's
like,
gonna make me rich.
Doesn't sound like it's taking you to the promised
And
land.
then, dude, we took a little ride. Went over to the office. Refiloe, you were sitting right outside.
Yeah.
And I realized how professional, how serious this was. Like, boardroom, pitch deck,
Big business.
PowerPoint.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow. Yeah, man.
He hit me with the same shit when
Did
I
he
came
hit you
to
with
say,
it?
it's so this guy, I'm like, oh damn, this is because I also had been with Cash Time before where it's like, okay, we with the niggas. They're like, oh yeah, catch you off the streets, put you on national.
Yeah.
That was the first time I also went to the board. It's like, okay, so Nick come in and PowerPoints, and I'm looking at myself on the screen. I'm like, oh damn, they have me like this on here.
Yeah.
Fine. So you come in when the album is already out.
Yeah.
Which brings me to, you actually said and coined the term Mouthtown Heights before you guys created the event.
So, okay, remember it's Twak
can I have a sip?
Stickum. Go for it, bro. Twak Stickum is out. Twak Stickum is actually the first single, I think, from... no, Futumata is actually technically the first single, but
It never.
it never became...
The
It was the
pop-off
track that was
single.
out. It was the
Yeah.
pop-off, right?
It was a mixtape joint.
Correct. But first music video, Twak Stickum.
Yeah.
On Talk Steakum,
Yeah.
styled by Malum Cool
Okay,
Cat
Malum Cool Cat
Are
style
you
that video.
shitting me?
For real.
at the Nike Gallery.
Are you shitting me?
Okay, Malum Cool Cat style that video.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Right. Produced by
Ivy League.
Ivy League.
Ivy League
Forbes
is
in there.
Pookie.
Yes.
Guy we don't give enough flowers. That guy is a mad
Yeah.
genius, right? It's Kamza. And of course, it's Young Keenan.
Yes.
AKA for those that don't know who Keenan is.
AKA.
AKA.
Yeah. And the name Mouthtown Heights.
Is a line.
That's
Yeah, you said it on the joint.
Yeah, that's
Before
from the
event.
closing line on the record that goes off to the Mouthtown Heights.
Soon as you reach it, you tell me what it sounds like.
I was like, this nigga is too nice.
Yeah, so shout out to Zaz Boy and Ref, and
Yeah.
we had a chat group. Was it
Correct.
Was it BBM days?
PBM. So where you have to take a step back is that, like, okay, so you, as you said, the album was out, but we needed to get the album working. One day we'll tell that story of the music video for Fresher that never came out. Anyway,
There's
so,
one that didn't come out.
oh, mate, we were sold a dream there, mate. But anyway,
And it was an all-female cast, all female.
love
from-
to them because
from
at
the
least
producer to
yeah.
the extras.
Oh,
But
damn,
you know when
yeah.
green screen just goes wrong.
Yeah. Even I wanted all the first video bummed. The first video bombed, and then they had to kind of chop.
Yeah, because they put things together for
Yeah.
a while.
So-
Also, that first video, I remember taking it to, I don't know who was the compiler channel O at the time. And I remember saying, hey, I'm not sure about this video. I don't want to put it, just let's play it on the side. You know, when you're watching somebody's face and you're like, you know what, don't even bother, Playboy. I got you. We'll come back with a new video.
Yeah.
And thank you for that. Because let me tell you, record execs back in the day would have plugged it.
Yeah.
Would have plugged it. It's like, yo, we're not gonna lose money. We're gonna plug this.
Correct.
Till this day, I have not seen that video. This guy did not let me
He
see
made
it.
executive decisions.
I was like, it's cool, we're going back.
Like, no,
and
we're
funny
not-
enough, this is why I wanted to take this step back, is this is where the story connects with Nick Roo, Molotov Cocktail. Because the first music video we did, and mind you, we've done some classics with him.
Yes.
Because from that, we did a run of that into No More Hunger, into Tswada.
Shout out to
into-
Tsepo D.
Yeah, Tsepo D as well. All of these videos are done under Molotov Cocktail. And so much more. So Nick is like a brother to us. So Nick,
yeah.
that's why he's the third part of this story of the Maftown Heights Untold Stories documentary. So anyway, we do these we do the fresher music video, and we start to get on the road.
Groundbreaking also, that vid. Like,
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't had anything.
Yeah,
that
we went different with it.
And
it
the video
was
is shown in the
fresher for
garage.
Yeah.
real. Yeah, it's like just-
20,000 rand video.
Yeah, who's on the
That
video?
was probably a bit.
Those were big budgets there.
back then.
Yeah,
20,000 rand video.
yeah.
And they pulled it off.
Because I think you guys making that is also what gravitated Tear Gas towards working with Nick. Also, no.
Correct. Look,
Yes.
Molotov. Look, we don't.
You don't
we're not-
wanna
we're not
do
those
all
guys.
that, yeah.
We obviously did some cool stuff together that people recognized, and Nick is a talented guy, and as a result of that, that's why so much else was done by Nick and his team.
Yeah.
So, but where I was going with this is that so we do that, and then Mpotwala, who again, all these stories all intersect. Mpotwala is Fam Films, and we are doing some really interesting documentary work with him as well, which is still to come.
Fine.
Does Gonga, and now we're 2 singles deep, and what we were clear on. I remember we started having these conversations of, you wanna go fast, you'll go alone. But if you want to go long, like as in go for a long time, you've got to bring people with you. And that was the spirit of the conversations. Khuli goes to something at Moloko, and Moloko is not in Pretoria at that time, guys. It's in Rosebank.
Logo's in Rosebank.
Yeah. Shout out to Stefan Cohen, right? And there was a Ghanaian Independence Day celebration, and he's like blown away by. And actually, let me let you tell that.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
He's blown away by that. These guys are far from home, but they're all celebrating together, and it dawned on him that that's like us, the motswako community at this point in time, where none of us are actually there. We're all here. How can we find a way to have a platform where I can celebrate with these guys, and in so doing, we can try put on new cats so that this doesn't become a Khuli's hot, but motswako is actually dope. And that's where the conversations start. And that's where the BBM conversation starts. Because at that time, we're also beginning to ideate the next album, right? So that's why we're in this BBM group. Shout out to PH Producer. Zaz was in that group as well. And we started to play around with names, because that's one thing. Khuli, a lot of people always say, oh, Refiloe, you are the big idea guy. What I'm very good with Khuli, and I've always learned to do that, is I think Khuli is one of some of the best ideas I've ever had the privilege of executing. And what I'm very good at doing with where Khuli is concerned, and I think similarly with Maclera, even when I worked with Maclera, when I recognize somebody with a vision, I'm able to capacitate that vision.
Fine.
So he started to speak specifically around that, right? And it was like, I want to do this thing. So he was thinking about a party, and I was like,
We're not doing it.
no. We think bigger.
Yeah.
We've got to think bigger than this. And we've got to think, how do we scale this thing? And we then started to talk around the festival. And then we started to think around names. And when we were workshopping names, I was driving and I listened to the track. And I was like, off to the Maftown Heights. See, as soon as you reach it, you'll tell me what it sounds like. Conceptually, Maftown Heights for me felt like something to aspire to, the heights. right?
Yeah.
And I thought about what the song music was doing, like in terms of how it was boxing above its weight, because we need to appreciate here to that point. I mean, Oskoni the other day at Nkateko, the late Nkateko's funeral, was talking even from a broadcast perspective, how when they tried to sell a Tswana story in for the first time, it was a hard sell. Because to that point, and not just in music, it's always been a harder sell when you're talking about Sotho and Tswana language drama. So, this Heights kind of felt like something that we were aspiring to, and that's why it resonated. I said it in the group. I didn't need to pitch it too much. I said, what about Maftown Heights? Everybody was like, that's the name.
It was an immediate sell.
Yes.
And when you said it in the verse, what were you doing? Or you were just doing your fly nigga shit?
Come on, it was just braggadocious.
Yeah.
But that words, when words become things, like I always go back to that moment at the first Maftown Heights and baseline. I'm backstage and the shit is real. I'm just like,
and it's really happening.
and I am freaking out, right? And I'm watching Refiloe pacing up and down. Who's next on stage? So and so is running late, and I'm just like, oh my god, man! There's something amazing in not sleeping on ideas, right? Maftown, Zoxtakum created Maftown Heights.
Yeah.
Gonka became a club.
Correct.
The most ballerific.
Analog Nights.
A lot of
the people I work with on the Analog Night side, Kenny and DJ Ken Zero, as well as Wandy. The first one, they were there. They were there helping make sure that this vision becomes a reality as well.
Yeah.
Are you aware of how much of a fan Forbes was of you?
No, we know. I know at least. Yeah.
Like for me, right, from my perspective, because I'm not really diving in. I'm just catching you on TV on the singles, and when you got something that's like right in front of my face, I'm like, this nigga is so cool, so fire, the flow and all that. There's two guys, and like every time I would see them and get in a car, it's like Motswako Originator is playing. Like, there's nothing to discuss. Forbes was word for word that whole album.
Yeah.
Literally, when you got the first smoker, what was that? The white one?
Yeah?
I
remember that one, the Opal. Yeah, I remember that.
It was one of them whips. Whenever he came to Bram and scooped me and whatever he was doing, that's exactly what he was jamming. And for me, I was like, wait, the colored nigga is more tempting than me.
Bro,
what is happening?
Keenan could spit second verse of Tswada bar for bar.
Remember, we've got that video where I think it's actually somewhere on YouTube where behind the scenes it was Reason, him, and I can't remember, and they were spitting the verses. But you've got to understand, the why though, right? Like, I mean, Khuli, again, humble, so I'll give him his flowers. Right? But I want it all. You've got to understand that, and he says it in episode 2 of the docu. In his own words, not mine, he says, people need to understand that had Khuli not given me a leg up, I wouldn't be the artist I am today. So you've got to consider, I want it all. You've got to consider, I remember the day we shot No Mohanga. Him, shy dude, just grateful to be on that video. Like, that's Keenan at that time, right? And to then go on to all the tracks that they went on to do together, stuff that people aren't even aware of. Like, when we started to tour, like properly, when Khuli started to catch momentum, he was like a younger brother to us. We pulled Keenan along. His first live band show, he learned how to do that live band thing from this guy. Let's be clear on this.
That's crazy.
Right? So, like, you've got to understand that this dude here, and it's not just Keenan, like, and that's the thing that I love about Khuli.
You mentioned Maglera as well. That's
and that's a story we're still getting
well.
We're still gonna get there because that for me, young king, young legend. Like, I can't say enough about that kid. Like, there's nothing anybody can tell me. Maglera is that kid. Right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
One Dial as well was very.
You
remember One Dial? He also became my boy. Like, still my boy.
Oh my God.
You did a verse also on one of his joints that was like.
I did one
was
of.
it Simonia Groove still?
One of the sickest verses. One of.
Yeah, that verse was crazy.
Yeah, that verse was
put him on as well. Because when I saw him, I was like, damn, I knew who he was because he had the joint with you.
One dealer, ran into one dealer a couple weeks back.
Damn, I haven't seen him in such a long time.
And to this day, we gotta make a promise. I owe him big because we had a moment that never happened. It was I think it was at baseline, and he was meant to jump on with me. And that didn't happen. And
must have been shattered. I think I remember we were running behind schedule, were we not?
I was about to say that was probably your call.
Anybody else would have made that a thing, right?
Yeah, my bad, bro.
That could have been beef. It could have been and never.
Big Dog took it on the chin.
He took it on the chin. Still shows me love, but he gave me one of the best records, best collab, and he paid me for it. And at the time,
I remember that actually. Yeah, you're right.
Dealer put some cheese in my pocket. Here's the thing. I think some of my highlights of my career is the dudes that put the Rex in my pocket.
Put Rex in your pocket, man.
I'm going to tell you about Shah, right?
Yeah.
First paycheck came from WHP.
Yeah.
First paycheck.
Of course, come on now.
First paycheck.
Yeah.
Took the Rex, went to a clothing store, bought some new drip.
Of course.
Went in the dressing room, left the old drip there. Came out.
Stepped out
I'm a new man.
I literally left that old gear there and I went to the show.
Fire.
Second pay, I got that as a solo act. I got paid by Dukes.
Wow.
Dukes.
I didn't know that.
OG also too.
Dukes.
Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Dukes wanted to sign me. But Dukes wanted to sign when I was going solo.
People need to remember just how big Dukes was.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, 500.
500?
Yo,
25,600. That's the only reason why I know.
Dukes is the first to go
how
gold,
many
right?
First to go
minutes
gold.
First summer award.
I think the first motswako summer was him. Then Jabba got one. Although Jabba got the first best male hip hop summer of anybody.
Yeah. Impact.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Momolemi as well is in. Like when you guys had all the nails, I'm like, damn, motswako is actually heavy. Like you guys have
But it
heavy
stays
weights.
heavy. You know, like I like how guys talk about was. Like, okay, there's that era. Then you got the Khuli era. Then you got the Casper era.
Then you got the JR.
You got JR.
Yeah, JR is another one that put some cheese in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right? First album.
Yeah.
You took me on tour with him.
Yeah.
And yo, Jay, man.
JR was always big business
Jay.
too.
Jay believed in that record so much. Jay cried. I remember when I won my first award. I think it was either Hype or...
Teams. And Teams was the organizer
so
of that. Yeah, I remember that.
Teams.
Yeah.
Man. So there's a couple guys, man. Shawani.
Yeah, you have to mention Shawani.
Shawani. I started this road with Shawani Kekana. I shot him out on a joint called Maje. Shawani is the first guy that believed. Gave me a roof over my head. Food. You know, Shah would throw in a gift voucher from Sobey. Go get your skin right, go out there, look fly. Take the car. You know what I mean? He worked for DSTV at the time, and Shah walked this road with me from the beginning. Yeah, man. Shout out to Shah. Mad love for you.
You, even as a solo, never really left your brothers behind, like KG and Toady.
Yeah.
Like they appear on every album and a couple times.
Yeah, all the time.
Is that also still partly a bit of your fear of fully or is that just your love for the niggas?
No.
Or you just can't imagine finishing anything without those niggas?
Number 3.
Keep it a beat.
Number 3.
They're part of his creative process.
They're part of
Number
you.
Number 3. I just can't, and I've tried it, and I've succeeded, but it's just not the same without them. And these guys have seen me from the beginning. They know my potential. They know my greatness. They know, and there's nothing like that energy. I just don't even know how to describe it.
Yeah.
You know what?
And I'm either doing it with KG or I'm doing it with Toady.
Correct.
But I'm gonna win. It's my cheat code.
Correct.
Period.
I mean, like, I'll give you certain instances. Like, not Bawena. Actually, just the Lost in Time album, right?
Oof.
Like, Khuli's pen. Like, when you get down there, when you want Khuli to write,
Yes, get down there.
you need him
Yes.
to rap it back to KG.
Yeah.
If KG isn't going, oh shit. Khuli needs to go write it again.
critiquing his.
Yeah.
Khuli has to go write it again.
Yeah.
And I think if you probably want to get Khuli's vocals produced at the absolute best, there's two guys I would
Yeah.
probably say.
PH, Raw X.
And I'd say Toady. Right? So that's what you need to understand. Like, it is beyond words. These guys are a holy trinity. Yeah.
And it works and feels that way.
I am not self-made, but
Yeah.
you know.
I fuck with that.
Yeah.
Probably one of the, only goats that could say some shit like that.
You
Because
know-
everyone wants to get there and be like, hey, I
'Cause-
got it out the mud and I.
No, not self-made. I mean, I'm talking, there was a time I couldn't sit through an interview and be chatty like this. Like,
You needed the niggas
I
there
didn't
with
have
you.
the confidence for it, and to even answer your question, like, why I don't do a lot of interviews. I think some of it stems from that era, but also from there's a time where just the mystique was the currency, right? It's just, scarcity.
Yeah, the mystique also is.
Works.
Yeah. It's crucial.
Remember, he's also like Hove and Naza blueprint, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about those guys, they're not out there having an opinion on everything. Yeah.
It's so true.
Yeah.
You're actually having an opinion on nothing. Like, there's nothing I can think of where it's like, oh yeah, then Khuli said. Like, you can't
And by
pick
design
anything.
at a certain stage, we were like that. And I think especially post 2013 and what happened there, we became very insular.
Yeah.
Now, I wanna maybe 2013 is when you had to duck down from shots coming at you, right? And
Rat-ta-ta, as the youngins would say now.
now you having confessed and having always stood on the fact that, I'm not a thug, I'm not trying to be tough,
Yeah.
I'm not from that, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? And especially because you had nothing to do with anything.
Anything. Oh. Damn.
I remember actually the night, because you were coming to PTA, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we were already with Zez at the...
At Moloko.
Yes.
Oh,
You were there that night?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And I think I was there when he got the call, like, yo, this just happened. It was like, wait, what just happened?
Yeah, that's wild.
That was wild.
That was a crazy night.
How
No.
does that even happen?
Yo, man, there's nothing, there's nothing cool about being shot at.
Being shot at.
There's nothing fun about that. That was rough. Reiko, my man.
Our DJ at the
Reiko.
time. Absolute
Reiko.
legend. Scratch master.
DJ.
Yeah.
Reiko was my tour DJ at the time he got to the scene. I'm just gonna skip all those details. You'll catch the movie
Right.
since we in the
Exactly.
movie.
Since we in the
biz.
movie business.
So I'm on my way to Moloko, pop in at the gas station on the N1.
Yeah, the Caltex.
At the shell out there.
That big one over the...
Oh,
over
the Caltex,
Yeah,
yeah.
that Caltex, the one that's over, you drive
Yeah.
just by New Road. there.
Yeah, at the mid-range. Yeah.
I'm in my best mood. I'm bumping some Erica. On my way out on that, down the off ramp, how what looked like is a car trying to drive back in. Yeah, was like seeing my my life flashing
like.
in front of my eyes. I'll tell you this: there was a moment, Ref, when I was sure this is my last. This is my last
this is the
minute.
end.
This is the end. And at this point, I am screaming. After you will scream.
When the shots are going off,
That's what That's how to, you know. So, and then now I'm facing the other direction. They're like, don't look at us. You're gonna walk backwards. And that moment, I'm going, this is it. My daughter's about 3 months in, and it just flashes.
it's all
Coming back from the beginning to now, and you just going, have I done enough? Is this how I'm going out? Oh, yeah. And then from there, bro, a week later, there were charges being pressed against me for.
Remember, it starts the next morning, right?
Because next morning.
I think Reiko calls me, and I never have my phone on loud at that time. I get a call, and it's like 10 minutes. It took me 10 minutes to drive from Fourways to Midrand. And in that time, something says to me, let's call our lawyers.
What did he say when he got to
He just
the
said,
scene?
yo, and you know Reiko's chill like that. Hey, Ref, I don't know, man. You know, he's playing it down. This cop's here. Looks like Khuli's been shot. Sorry, say it again. Khuli, okay, drive and go. When he's like, okay, me call my lawyers. So fortunately, there was a sister. Still actually, I call her and I say, dispatch a lawyer from the firm to meet me there. I need them there now.
need them on the scene, yeah.
Yeah, there. So by the time I get there, this is actually where a forceful personality was a good thing. Because I got there, those cops were bullying the shit out of you guys. And I was
They
like...
still were.
No, they were out there trying to make this guy look like a criminal. And I was like, what's going on? Our lawyers are going to be on site now. And I suggest you take this man out of his handcuffs, right? And fortunately, and you know, sometimes lentole, sorry, no, you figure lawyer
Now keep it a beat.
And then manje must figure out, okay, cool. Now you start to see them caucus, and the one cop comes to me and says, yes, that's exactly who it is. And yes, it was you've got a problem.
But this is snapback Khuli Chana era.
Yeah, it's that we are everywhere.
I wore the Khuli Chana on my forehead.
Yeah.
So I remember when they flipped me over. So I'm walking backwards to them. They pushed me to the floor. This is after, I've been shot at. This is after they sprayed, right? Floor, the routine, flips me over, snap back. He goes, ish. I'm fit. He runs. I'm confused as fuck. It's blood.
You're still trying to figure out what the hell's happening.
I'm bloody, but so much adrenaline. Yeah. You don't feel a damn thing.
You didn't even know you were
in
hit.
shock. We're like, what the fuck just happened, right? He splits. They split. And then Bakokazara. Now you see random dudes just start popping out of nowhere. Yeah. Old white man. Big Afrikaner guy.
So it was an ambush. Like there was some guy who had kidnapped somebody. Yeah. You watched the movie.
Yo, we in the movie, man.
We'll catch you in the movie.
Catch you in the movie. But the long and short is that the next morning, because like then it's hospitals all night. It's this, it's that. 6 a.m. finally I think I got my first call. I think it was Metro or somebody. We have our PR firm as well that then starts to go into prep mode. This is what's coming. And the next morning, I remember I hadn't slept, and every news service is running it wall to wall. And it starts with the guys going, it was a mistake. By the end of that day, they're saying they've got footage of this guy trying to run cops over. And then that was the next 2 years of fighting a machine. Fighting a machine that knew that they had nothing. But
we took the shine from Oscar Pistorius.
Because it was that time.
It was that time, and it just shifted, right? I remember a moment, we're driving, we're on our way to a reputation...
Yeah, reputation management firm.
Yeah, reputation management firm, right? Yeah. Get to a intersection, and there's a guy selling me a paper.
And you are on it.
with my face on the front page.
bro. Front page.
And I'm looking at it going, damn, this is what my life has become.
Right now, it's like crazy.
We get to this team and I'm now being coached. I'm getting like media training on how to handle this thing. And that was my life. And it was fucked up.
After working so hard to stay
Let
away
me
from
tell
the
you,
drama.
we had just done KFC Natubawa, and I was at before or after.
Oh, goodness.
It was before. Remember,
It was
this
before.
happens after we've done all the KFC stuff, and Maftown Heights is 6 weeks away. 2013.
No, we have just won Best Summer, Best Album.
Oh
of
yeah,
the year.
that too. We cleaned first artist. Actually, first, I think did Questa win album of the year?
Yeah, first.
Until Questa with Dakar 2, the only hip hop album that had won album of the year at the Summers was this dude's album.
Yeah.
Lost in Time.
Lost in Time, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, you're
you've done all of
peaking
that.
You're peaking at that point.
And it's just like,
Especially watching you in PTA. Like,
Dude, you should have seen him in
watching
Durban.
Khuli in PTA was like, I'm like, what is this?
I somehow expect that because that's the north of the country. Like, that's the Mecca. It was when we'd go to Durban.
Durban was.
That would always blow me away. Like, guys with tongues that are like
Zulu.
this. You know how Zulu cats don't speak
Now, we
no
don't
other
do that.
languages.
We don't.
And they would rap word for word.
Yeah,
like
Durban
word for word.
embraced me.
Word
We
for
were
word.
there every weekend. It looked like we were buying these gigs. we were it's like it started to look a little suspicious. We were there literally every calendar
Especially at
event.
that time, like
Yeah.
Durban was creating their own
Yeah.
scene, like, and really pressing it that we are alive.
And John, we don't come outside for interviews a lot, so I like to give flowers because to his point, nothing is self-made. Two people made that possible in KZN.
Yeah.
Zandi Tembe, who used to be
Fire.
at Ukozi,
Big dog.
and Mr. Magic.
Mr. Magic.
Loved Cool. Like, we went on an interview at Out the Box and We Fresh, and he championed Khuli.
This guy goes and plugs Tswada. Imagine how plugging Tswada.
No,
boom
we're
bap.
not there yet.
Oh, we're not there yet.
We're
Okay,
still at
cool.
Fresh, Out the
Okay.
Box and We Fresh.
Okay.
But yes, we got there too.
Oh yeah. We
Remember?
Your Fresher became a smash in Durban.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what first broke us. That's what first broke us.
Flash.
Flash.
That is that.
No, I remember security guards. That's when I knew we were beginning to buzz. Like, I remember getting somewhere one day and the security guard was like, oh, cool.
No, it's
Out the
Flash.
box and we flash. And we were like, damn, okay. This thing is popping this side.
Your cosign level.
Yeah.
How many of those? Also, do we kinda give you the Forbes one? Kinda. For I Want It All. But I mean, it's both you and Pro.
Yeah.
Pro.
But then you go on to do Guaranteed to Bang with him.
Yeah.
Does a lot.
So I Want It All was originally my joint.
Oh, shit.
So Motswako originator, Ivy League had about two. They were meant to have 3 joints.
supposed to have
so
3, yeah.
Talk Stick Him, No More Hunger, produced by Ivy League. Third joint was I Want It All. I just dropped the hook, and I never went back to the stew. Hits me up, "Ish, big bro, come on, let me
hold on to
We bless
this.
this one.
I got this idea. I wanna drop I wanna drop a verse, then you come in and Pro, imagine. I'm like, let me think about it. And I was like, you know what, just do your thing. So I never got to do the verse, but I was like, yo, I'll be on the hook.
Hook game crazy, by the
And
way.
you guys have given me 2, smash hits.
Smashes, yeah.
And there you go, and that's where it started. But I used to visit Young Keenan in the dungeon at SABC.
Yeah.
It was a space like this,
Yeah,
and I'll
yeah.
just sit and watch him pacing up and down, bumping I remember him bumping me Jealousy for the first time, and I was originally on that joint too. But it was
Oh,
getting a little
shit.
bit too much. That's me in the background.
Yeah.
So I had 2 verses on that, but it was getting. We were like back to back with the collabs. It was getting too much, and I knew this guy is gonna be huge. Nobody wanted it like Forbes.
Yeah, the hunger.
Nobody wanted it like Forbes
Nobody.
and Refiloe.
Yeah.
Nobody
Yeah.
wanted it. Like Refiloe, and I think where me and Refiloe started
yeah,
bumping,
he's
where
also-
we
Refiloe Casper. Sorry.
Yes,
there's two
yes,
Refiloes.
yes. It hit me after also 2
Yeah,
seconds. I'm
Refiloe
like,
Casper.
oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's why they butted heads also.
Your vest. Now, crazy thing, right? I'd known Nyovi since, I remember Nyovi used to be a hype man for KT. KT was the kid we thought and we believed, had or got next. So we had KT on our second album, Morafe Days, and KT was going to become the biggest motswako.
Who was nice, by the way.
Oh, yes.
What?
First time I saw Casper was his hype man, but Casper, then they had the segment in his act where Casper would drop a 16 bar. But that 16 bar was about a 16 bar. And then he would always stomp every time he drops a bar. And I got 16 da, taka da da, like dik dik da, ra, taka za da, like that. I was like, this kid is amazing, right? But he was super shy. He was quiet. Soon as he gets off stage, head down, sure, man, sure, Then I got to experience Casper moving with Tasman. Jabba. Then he's switching from one genre to another. Then I would lose him. I didn't get him. Then Forbes one day goes, so do you remember when Casper dropped No Wahala?
Yeah, No Wahala, I remember, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's Casper, Afrobeat, there's Le Panzola, Le Repang, so he would send me a bunch of joints and I just couldn't,
Just couldn't grasp it. Like, what is it? I remember with Noah Hana also was like,
I couldn't grasp
what is this
it.
nigga on?
But he was persistent. The BBM every day, right?
But I love that hunger, though.
But the guy that actually put me on Cass was Keenan. Keenan was starting to work on levels. He goes, yo, dog, do you know Casper? You should work with Casper, dog. Casper, Ganja beats these kids out. All from that all the way to the beef.
Was always
It's
confusing.
crazy. And
was wild
especially
for me.
because I think even during the beef, Casper was convinced that you didn't fuck with him because you fucked with AKA.
Episode 3, watch it this Saturday.
Oh, yeah, let's not do too much
oh,
over here.
That's why you gotta watch
We're in
Mount
the
High.
movie business.
Episode 3 of the docu, there's a
Yeah.
segment where we talk to that.
Which is another thing I found very fire about the docu is you guys didn't, as much as it's about, because that's what it's about, right? It's about motswako and
Well, it's actually about Mufftown Heights.
Mufftown
but you can't
Heights.
tell a story without context.
yes. And you guys didn't keep it to just them people. You let everybody else come into the story, but of course, because it's about Mufftown Heights. Okay.
But remember, that's exactly it, right? That was always the bridge. And that's what Mufftown Heights, the property was about. That's what Mufftown Heights, the creative community workshops, which were like skills empowerment elements, were about. That's what the documentary is about. Like, if you know Khuli and I, you know that we will dig a tunnel and will illuminate the tunnel so that people can walk behind us.
Yeah. At some point, you were like a brand magnet.
Yeah.
Like, before I get there, what did check look like from them folks who shot at you?
What did what?
That's the subject of a non-disclosure
What did
agreement.
check look like?
Podcast or no podcast, we're subject to an NDA.
Because we saw, you kind of could tell the lifestyle change after the...
But actually not even.
Not even.
Very little to do
Yeah, no.
with the SAP check.
We were running.
Yeah.
We'll say that.
I mean,
we were
what
running.
we had,
So the check wasn't, how am I?
the check is overrated. But
Yeah,
thank
we
you
were running.
very much,
Yeah,
fellas.
thanks. But we were running. We're running
Yeah,
hard.
yeah. No,
Like from
thanks.
2011 onwards.
I won't
about
lie. The check,
Yeah.
the moments will say when I'm a little broke and I go, damn, would be nice to get shot again.
Careful, words become things.
Yes, Touch all the wood, no teeth.
Words become things.
No, never,
He was
never,
joking.
never. So, KFC,
She's
Right.
It was.
But before
Miller.
that, Miller, I bought my first
Yeah.
house with Miller.
Yeah.
You
Miller,
know,
KFC.
We did absolute, and this is the
Miller,
art
guys.
of the deal, right? Every brand we've ever worked with, we stretch that deal from like
Correct.
a 12-month contract to like 3.
Relationships,
Fine.
working, professionalism.
Yeah.
Also selling a vision where they can see how they can scale and walk a journey with us. I mean, the Miller conversation started, and I think we touched on this in episode 3, actually. This coming weekend, I think it is. It's this weekend. Well, at the time of shooting this. But yes, you can catch it on Catch Up on DSTV. Point being that she's now Carmen Mohape. She was Carmen Hobbs. A PR agency representing Miller calls us at the time, and they wanted him, Keenan, and Dimples to go on some Miller Music West tour. I think the year before that they had C's and Scoop go, and they were like, "Yeah, this is what you're gonna do. Private jets. It's gonna be for free." And I was like, "No, it's not gonna be for free."
Imagine me,
So
young Dimples, young Keenan in Las Vegas.
Correct. So sorry, if I can before you jump to that, then I said to them, we'd love to do it, but we'd love to have a relationship with you guys. And our relationship is we're trying to build this, and if you are on board with how we can break bread and you can help us build this thing over here, cool. To the PR company's credit and props to them, they passed the message on to Carmen Mohape, who clearly didn't deal with us because she was like head of brand. And she called for a meeting. And from that meeting, we sold her a vision of what we were trying to do. And 3 years, we had a 3-year relationship with Miller as a consequence of that.
Yeah, because you guys also took us at some point.
No. That was part and parcel of it. Again, it's that thing of we never leave people
You
behind.
stretched it, yeah.
And besides that, we never left people behind. We said there's this thing called hip hop that you need to invest in.
Yeah.
And they'd already done with Jabba, and we said, this is how you can do it with other people. So we suggested these Miller tours where we would take people around the country so we could seed hip hop in different parts of the world, like Casper in Durban, where he otherwise wouldn't have gotten booked, especially in the hood in Durban. So we did that.
That's who's. I'm like,
Correct.
we are touching every
Miller.
corner.
But what we recognize is in doing that, again, you wanna go far, you wanna go fast, go alone. But if you're gonna go far, go as a movement. And we recognize that we could use a brand's money to build a genre. And that's what we did.
I say that a lot on this pod when we speak about the conditions of SA hip hop right now. It's like, I don't think people realize enough what made hip hop reach its peak at that time was that factor. There was a lot of, we're all gonna go together.
Correct. Remember, there's Kati and the tear gas guys. When we started Maftown Heights, there was a movement. There was an event that they were also.
Yes, there was another annual event in
what was that?
Soweto, ne?
Yeah, remember that.
Yeah.
And then of course you've got
The
back to the
showdown,
city. The showdown,
yes.
right?
Showdown.
And you've got back to the city. There were all these movements popping up. And remember, as a principle, I don't think we ever charged Kati and them to perform at that kind of thing. That was the mentality, and that's actually what I love about watching the piano guys come through. It reminds me of the early years of when we were doing this thing.
Facts.
Like there's a move, they move together,
They
and I
break
love
bread.
that. And you can see that. And props to those guys.
It's needed. It's needed. What made you guys because there's so many stories to tell, like we've run through so many and we're only touching on bits of all of them. What made you guys feel like the Maftown Heights is the story to tell?
It was 2020. The world was about to close, and I remember it had been 10 years.
Can you imagine, guys? That's where we're coming from. At
That's
some
what-
point, they threatened to shut the world down on us.
And we survived that.
Crazy.
And I remember it was like an urgency in us, right? I think where we're like, so we're going to have a couple months where we're not working. Okay, so let's do something interesting. Why don't we put together a reflection on what we've done? I remember there was some sync deal or something that we had done. We had some rags that we had gotten from that, and we were like, let's just reinvest this thing into the donkey. So we started then doing interviews. I remember it was urgent because it was like late Feb into beginning of March. And they were closing on the 26th. So we started to bang out a gang of interviews at that time. And that's actually how it started, where we were like, we want to just reflect back and reflect on this journey we walked. And I'm glad we did that because it was in that time we got the Ricky interview.
Yeah.
It was in that time we got the Keenan interview. We got a number of interviews where in my wildest dreams.
Wildest.
If I was to tell you 4 years later we lost that many important voices, I would have thought no. Young voices.
Super crazy. Another thing I wanted to touch on, and maybe this will be one of the last few things we touch on, was losing your peers. Like, because we've lost a lot in the past couple years.
It took a toll on me, man. I mean, one thing I take from it, back to Forbes is Forbes immortalized me. Like I didn't know.
Hell yeah.
I didn't realize how much Forbes loved me until the last days, right? He called me that Thursday before, the Thursday night before he
Went.
Yeah. And he wanted us to go touring and perform Prada and whatnot. But Forbes was consistent and very loud about his love for me, right? How many records in, and
even that intro to the last album, like I don't know how emotional I was listening to that.
Yeah.
I think the first time we heard it was at least the first time I heard it.
Yeah.
Was in that week.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and you listen to how he still gives you his flowers
Yeah.
at that last intro.
Forever.
yeah.
Forever.
And that made me feel like, because when you start losing your peers,
Yeah.
you feel like you're next. And you start to wonder, have I done enough?
Yeah.
Now you start to live in worry. Like
Especially Forbes one.
having been shot at and having survived that, having come face to face with your mortality. After that, I didn't fear death so much. The weirdest thing is that it's like psychologically, it's like you start looking for it. I went through a weird, had to go for therapy for that. You look for the danger, right? But that had me shook.
Yeah.
From dimples.
Sure.
And now the grieving is,
And it's nonstop.
back to
It's like a
back
walk.
now.
it's back to back, and that has changed, right? You don't know how to grieve. This is deep in what?
Yeah.
COVID. This is
It's
deep in the
like-
lockdown.
yeah.
I kind of feel like because
When
it was
it-
happening so fast, people were like giving you 3 days, then you need to get over it, right? Like I kind of felt like that. You couldn't even be in a moment to grieve because,
Nah.
hey, dude, we're carrying our own shit right now. Like we can't deal
Yeah,
with you
everyone
grieving.
was also
Yeah.
going through a
Yeah.
lot. So it's
Yeah.
like,
And
hey,
there was a pattern. Everyone that had dipped, I'd either had a chat with them a week before.
Fuck, I spoke to
I s-
Keenan a week before. Actually, yeah, less than a week before.
I spoke to Tukolo.
Jesus, Makesh. Oh,
and I
my
was
gosh,
like,
that was
Makesh, we need another one.
tough. Oh, that was tough.
Yeah, like your swagger, your voice is needed in this era. Like
those were scary hours.
was
Like
scary.
me and Kay were literally on the phone feeling like talking about, it's getting to a point where it's like you're literally wondering, am I gonna make it to the end of the year? Like, or am I gonna be one of the RIPs this year? And if not, if you make it through December, then all of a sudden in Feb, like,
Yeah.
And you know what the crazy part
Ricky's gone.
that made me feel like a bit. It stopped being a bit as fun for me for a bit. Like I think doing this documentaries made me love this thing again.
Yeah.
But like it really made me start to not enjoy this anymore. And I also think I never, as an industry, felt more alone than in 2020 and 2021. Like literally, and this I'll say straight up, they left us for dead. Same guys that want us on their stages performing for these rallies, and I'm not even going to single out one party.
Yeah.
They left us for dead.
Yeah.
They didn't come with us,
Sure.
ne? To our
No.
dark times.
We were last in line, bro.
Last in that.
Dusted.
Crazy.
Forgotten.
So that for me just made me realize, like, yo, okay. Wow.
We're on our own.
Yeah, black man, you're on your own, in the words of Steve Biko.
Crazy. So, in a statement, what is the story of Mufftown Heights?
Go for it, Baba.
I think it's a story of overcoming incredible odds. I think it's a story of daring to dream and being unapologetic in achieving that dream. I think it's about making sure that you don't go alone. And I think it's about celebrating loudly, proudly, and unapologetically who we are as a people. Not only as people who rap in Tswana, but as a culture, as hip hop. One thing I can proudly say is there isn't a person we haven't touched in one shape or form or in any way through that platform. And if you watch this episode 3, Ricky goes to tell you exactly how this started the thought process for Cotton First, and says so in his own words. Again, don't listen to me, watch it. We're in the movie business, as Khuli says.
Yes,
Right?
sir.
But for real, like that for me is what it's about. It's just about that story of, yeah, you know, he's good. He's a rapper. He'll put this in 2 bars for you. I'm more the wordy one. But that for me is what it's about. It's just that. It's a really incredible story of inclusion.
Fire. Which is Hutswakansisa.
Exactly.
Did I get that right?
Motswako.
Hutswakansa.
Love that.
Try myself out. And then let's toast to the future of Mounttown House so we can get out of here. Well, you guys can catch it on the... I feel like I squeezed you guys.
Yeah.
But you guys will get the rest on the docky. What is the future of Mounttown Heights?
Okay, Khuli, you can go ahead and say
grab
it.
your coffee, your water there, big dog.
I think it's probably cold as, but
We'll warm it up for you.
You know, having watched the docu, and because I've been in the race, right, it gave me the opportunity to just step out and watch myself with my friends. Like, we all started out just friends, and now we are family, right? And what I want the Bruce to take from this is, you fucking did well. Give yourself a
hip-hop.
pat
Shout
on the
yourself
back.
out.
And this is an opportunity for you to just step
Fire.
out of it and see a couple ladies from my feet gang that came to Joburg and took over.
And really
with,
did it.
with authenticity.
Yeah, and believe they could.
And yeah,
And said, fuck it, we're doing it.
you know, and authenticity is always gonna win. So, you know, whatever that means to you. Yeah.
Fire.
Holla.
And to answer your question, Khuli's been pushing me hard for a reunion. So, okay, fuck it. Yeah, we'll do the reunion.
Yeah, reunion coming soon.
Okay.
Please and
Yeah.
thank you, gentlemen, for
Man, Lord of the Chick, bro. It's
indulging me.
such a pleasure, man. You
On
know,
my
we go
platform.
back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You, the man responsible for giving me my first 1 million views, because
what's-
you were in the boardroom and saw the vision and didn't want to cut corners with what you knew that song was, which is Lala, by the way, of course.
Still one of my favorite songs. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still
Was an
crying,
honor,
saying,
privilege,
"Come on,
like
do
working."
that sound." I'm like, "Leave me alone." Because I also got despondent with when we went through all that loss. I was like, "Yo, this shit just doesn't feel fun anymore."
Yeah, it doesn't
And it's
feel
such a
the same.
pity because this is one of the sharpest pens in the game, whether they acknowledge it or not. Like, I remember with the Porigom era, like, I mean, a lot of those tracks were written by him. I mean, when we signed Black Boy?
Black Boy, yeah.
You were
Lindo
a very,
and-
very big part of that.
Oh snap! That was
Yeah,
you.
my name
Ah,
was in the sync
shit.
deals. You spoke a lot about sync deals.
Then the sync
I
deals.
saw some
no,
checks.
that's-
I saw some checks.
Business. It's the music business.
Yeah, we missed you when you left, but that's a story for another day.
I love.
That's another thing.
I love the reinvention. You know, I'm for it.
Yes.
I am one.
By the way, yes, you
for
are.
it.
I will never
We're
forget.
talking about you, though.
Yeah, I'm talking about
Oh,
you.
yes, yes.
Now, the podcast game, I see you smashing this
you.
thing to pieces.
This guy, I bumped into you at where was that? In Sosha.
Yeah.
I think your lady was playing at the tattoo shop.
Oh yeah.
What was it? Mockingbird, or is it a bird though?
The hummingbird.
Hummingbird. Thank you, big dog. They were gonna kill me.
Shout out to Kat.
Hummingbird. Yeah, shout out to Kat. And you gave me the tightest hug ever. And you're like, dog, I love what you're doing. I love you. And that gave me fuel to like really believe that, oh, okay,
Yeah, we could
then
do
I'm
this.
straight. Yeah, then
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
love
big
it,
dog.
bro.
Yeah, I almost didn't thank you for that.
Salute.
And keep doing you, man. Like, dude, the reinvention is beautiful. And to watch you as a
Thank you.
family man, I've just been loving watching the content you're putting out as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then to close it, of course, thank you to Converse. Ngubhalile for as many times as I could. I'm sure you guys saw how they did me. They took care of me. Chopping It with Bhuda T, Khuli, Refiloe. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.